So we're going to be replacing a sprinkler controller, automatic timer, or irrigation clock. The old one burned up, it's toast, it doesn't work anymore, and so we're going to be installing a new one, and I'll show you how to do that. What we'll be using today is this Rainbird TM-2. This one's 12 zones. You can get them in 4, 6, 8, but we'll install this. I'll show you how to wire it up on an existing system, and then I'll show you how to start up a system with an ESP TM2. So this is the old clock that we are going to replace. So open up the panel and you can see all the wiring. Because it's existing, we don't want to mess up the sequence of zones turning on. So I'll take a picture of which wires go where to which zones, and I'll wire it back up in the same order. So first thing, unplug the old one so we don't have any power going to it. Then we can undo all these wires. You can use a screwdriver if you want, or you can use a drill on low setting. And you want to make sure not to unscrew them all the way, just enough to get the wires out. Okay, so all these are loose now. So I've marked down here which set of wires goes where, and I've taken a picture on which colors go to which zones. So now we can take these out rather quickly. Now you have a screw here. Sometimes you have a second and third one here, or a third and fourth one here, but I'll take this one out. Behind here is another screw that this hangs on. So we'll take this one out first. Okay, so now this one's out. I'm going to close this, it makes it easier to take it off. Behind here is a hook. There's a screw, and you can see that's what it hooks on. So here's the new box. The instructions, keep those. So you can see there's that notch to hang it on that screw that we left. Okay, so now it's hanging there, but this is not level, so we want to make sure we level it up, and then we can put the other screw in. So open this up, take this panel off, and inside you've got drywall anchors and a couple of screws. So we can put a screw here and a screw here if we want to. So we'll level it up and we'll put that screw in. Okay, so now I've got the screw in there. It's pretty secure. You can see we've got the power coming in here, but I don't have it plugged in yet. I wait to the end for that. Sensor bypass here, common, master, and then zones 1 through 8 and 9 through 12. Now normally I like to use the white as the common. In this particular clock, it is existing, so I have to match what they have. They've used black as the common, but normally you use white for the common in the irrigation controllers. You can really use any color you want, but as long as you know what it is and you stick with that. Just some practical advice. When it comes to wiring a new clock as opposed to an existing one, which you might have to stick with whatever wiring they did, if you're doing a new clock, try and do it the same way every time. White is always common. Personally, I like to put them in alphabetical order. For example, the first zone would be the black wire, BLA. So that's alphabetically the first color of the wire, and so that's number 1. The next one might be blue, then the next one might be brown, and then it might jump to gray, green, etc., depending on how many different color strands you have in your wire. If you can find a system that works for you, great. For me, I like to put my wires in alphabetical order. That way, when I go to find them in the box, I know which valve is which zone. So we'll wire it up the way they had it, which is black as a common, and then I'll start installing these wires. These screws are all tight right now. So first we loosen them up. We'll start with the common. So now we have them loose, and I'm gonna start with my first set of wires. So we'll go with number 1. You wanna make sure that that's in there as close as it can be to where it's been stripped. You don't have to strip a whole lot off of it. Okay, nice and tight. So I'm gonna do that to the next several here. So if you did have to strip these wires, which these are already stripped, make sure you're not stripping off too much. This yellow one is about right. You can strip more than that, but what you don't want to do is sometimes these get moved, and if you strip them too much, then they can cross. I've seen it happen before. So only strip off about 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so now we've got all these back in order, installed nice and tight. Both the commons are here, and we are ready to go. So you can put an accessory here for like wireless control if you want, which is amazing. And you noticed we still haven't plugged this in, so this is the last thing I'm gonna do. I'll leave this panel off while I'm programming and getting everything started, so that way I know that everything is in the right order. Okay, so we're plugged in, everything's wired up. Now we can program the clock. So we check the date and time first, and this is not correct. So we get it to the right day. Then go over using the arrow button to the right month, then go over to the right year. Okay, now that's good. Now we can get the right time. That's correct. Now, switch to a start time. We want to run it at 6 in the morning. We want another start time at midnight. We'll do a third start time. So now I switch it to run times, station 1, and we'll go up, get that programmed, go to the next station by pushing the forward button, add our minutes, and we'll do that for all 10 zones. So now I've got all 10 stations programmed. I just have them set to 10 minutes to start. I can adjust that as I go through the zones and see what the needs are. But there is no zone 11 and there's no zone 12. So now we'll go to watering days, and we're gonna water Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we want Monday, we don't want Tuesday, Wednesday, yes, Thursday, no, Friday, yes, Saturday, Sunday, no. The seasonal adjust should be at 100% because we haven't changed anything, it's brand new. And now everything's programmed, everything's installed. So we'll run through this clock and make sure everything is working. How we test that is by pressing this button here for a manual start, and you can hear that first zone turn on. Looking good. Now station 3. That looks good. Now we'll go to zone 4, 5, 6, and so on. So everything looks good. I'll put the cover back on and we'll be ready to go. So all the zones look good, but there's a few zones that I'm gonna adjust the time on. So I'll show you how to do that. So turn this to run times. We're gonna adjust zones 8, 9, and 10. So we've got 8, bump that up to 20 minutes. Now you go to 9, pushing this button, a plus button to add more time. And then 10, we're gonna add more time to this one as well. So now we've got our times set, and we can turn this back to auto, and we're all done.